The University of Chicago sent a welcome letter to their new students, and they had an interesting declaration that they made. So they said, once here, you will discover that one of the University of Chicago's defining characteristics is our commitment to freedom of inquiry and expression. This is captured in the university's faculty report on freedom of expression. Members of our community are encouraged to speak, write, listen, challenge, and learn without fear of censorship. Civility and mutual respect are vital to all of us, and freedom of expression does not mean the freedom to harass or threaten others. You will find that we expect members of our community to be engaged in rigorous debate, discussion, and even disagreement. At times, this may challenge you and even cause discomfort. Our commitment to academic freedom means that we do not support so-called trigger warnings. We do not cancel invited speakers because their topics might prove controversial, and we do not condone the creation of intellectual safe spaces where individuals can retreat from ideas and perspectives at odds with their own. Words cannot describe how much I love this letter. You have to understand that in the name of tolerance and open-mindedness, we've become less tolerant and less open-minded. And this is where people are starting to fight back. I've maintained from the beginning, you want to talk about a negative advertisement for the left, broadly speaking? All you got to do is point to the idiots on college campuses who are like, I need a safe space from people who disagree with me or hurt my feelings. And point to people who say, hey, trigger warning, I'm about to say something that's super duper controversial. I'm so serial about how controversial this is, and this might, affect your feelings in a certain way, so, trigger warning. Are you kidding me? If everybody abided by trigger warnings and it was a thing that everybody had to do, my entire life would be a trigger warning. Every fucking video I did on SecularTalk would have to say trigger warning before it. Why? Because I'm an adult, and I talk about adult shit, and I use adult language, and that's what adults do. Now, college is supposed to be this thing where you have these intellectual pursuits and this journey, and you're becoming an adult, and you're, realizing who you are, and you're exploring different ideas. When you decide to make that a situation where it's the functional equivalent of an adult wearing a bodysuit of pillows running into soft walls, you're not preparing them for the real world. You're not preparing them to develop ideas. You're not preparing them to have a philosophy, have a mindset, argue that position. What you're saying is, I'm going to treat you like a toddler, and anybody who disagrees with you is somebody that, we're going to censor, we're going to ban, we're going to shut down. Guys, that ain't fucking liberalism. It's not liberalism. That's why I said, in the name of tolerance and open-mindedness, we've become less tolerant and less open-minded. There was a Pew report that came out not that long ago. It was a survey. They found 40% of millennials said that offensive speech should be banned. Think about how stupid that is, because what does that even mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? Guess what? You know who finds me offensive? You know who finds, fucking Bill Maher offensive and other people on the left offensive? Ted Cruz fans. Would you trust Ted Cruz fans with the authority on who to ban, who to censor, who to shut up? And if you wouldn't trust them with that authority, why the fuck would you trust anybody else with that authority? What I find offensive is wildly different than what you find offensive. If I go into a standard, church or mosque and listen to what they have to say, every word will offend me because it's insulting my intelligence. They're saying shit that isn't true. They're pretending mythologies are real. So should I have the authority and the power to say, you know what? I dislike this. Banned. Everything is censored here. Nobody can listen to these opinions anymore or these things because I dislike it. But that's what we're doing. When 40% of people say offensive speech should be banned, no. Not only should it not be banned, it should be expressed at every possible opportunity. Why? I want to know what everybody's thinking. I want to know what everybody believes. And by the way, if you're a loathsome asshole, I want you to advertise that you're a loathsome asshole so I know to stay away from you. Either that, or maybe you're somebody who I think is of sharp enough intellect where I want to engage you and see where you're really coming from and maybe try to defeat you in the realm of ideas. That whole thing the fucking country was based on with the First Amendment that talks about free speech and free expression and freedom of the press and stuff like that. No, there's a difference between libertarian leftism. I like to consider myself on the libertarian left. I like to consider myself a leader on the libertarian left. And authoritarian leftism. Authoritarian leftism is a scourge. You don't want to be in the same room with the people who say, you know, you said something that I perceive as bigoted or racist, therefore, you know, I'm not going to let you speak at the school, or I'm going to try to censor you or shut you down. We should never try to disinvite speakers, get speakers canceled from college campuses because they say shit we don't agree with. I mean, do you realize how stupid that makes you look? And also, you're really propping up their ideas because there's an implicit admission there, which is, you know, I don't know, I think they're going to convince some people. If they convince some people, more people will have that loathsome idea. So why don't we nip this in the bud and not allow them to talk about it in the first place? No, you know what an adult's response is? Okay, not only do I want that motherfucker to speak, I want to do the speech afterwards, and I want to run roughshod over all their shitty ideas. That's what you do. So whether it's Ben Shapiro or Milo Yiannopoulos or any of these people, Steven Crowder, people who are solidly strident right-wingers to one degree or another, and they have opinions that I certainly don't agree with, yeah, I'll let them speak. Of course I'll let them speak. They can say whatever the fuck they want to say. And then I'll get up there afterwards, by the way, not during when they can cut me off and use shitty debate tactics that are not fair and don't get at the actual truth of the situation. They can go up there and give a speech, and then I'll go up there afterwards and run roughshod over them. So Steven Crowder or whoever can go up there and say, you know, climate change isn't real and Hitler was a liberal. By the way, things he actually believes. And then I'll go up there and I'll say, oh, that's nice. Anyway, here's the study that's the meta-analysis of all the peer-reviewed studies done on the issue of climate change. And would you look at that? Over 99.8% of all the studies over multiple decades show climate change is real and it's largely man-made. Here's the story that says the Middle East will be uninhabitable by the end of the century. Here's the other story that shows X, Y, and Z about the effects of climate change. Increasing drought, increased extreme weather events on both ends, including worse blizzards, including, more powerful heat waves. Here's the articles that say they're going to be wars over water. So, yeah. Let them say whatever the fuck they want, and then you respond. What you don't understand is, if you're on the authoritarian left, you're making the left look bad, and you're giving so much ammunition to the other side, where they play the victim, they get pushed further underground. They have these discussions in internet forums with no intelligent people around to rebut their nonsense, and then the numbers grow and grow and grow and grow. And next thing you know, you created a fucking monster now, didn't you? You know, your rigid insistence to not discuss certain ideas made people go, why can't I discuss that? I want to discuss that. Fuck you, I'm going to discuss that. I'm going to go underground. Yeah, you're the fucking enemy. You're the problem. And now, whatever, somebody's part of the alt-right movement. You're not helping, you're not right, and you're abandoning principles that are the defining characteristic of liberalism. Free speech, free expression, exchange of ideas, so on and so forth. So, yeah. Fuck your microaggressions. That doesn't mean anything. I said something that maybe you can interpret if you purposely misinterpret it as offensive. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Fuck your microaggression. I don't give a fuck. Trigger warning. Oh, might say something that's going to be offensive. Again, what am I going to fucking tattoo trigger warning on my forehead because every other thing I say is offensive? Okay, I don't care about that either. And fuck your safe spaces. The whole point of college is to not be a safe space. That's the entire point of college. It's not a safe space. It's a fucking intellectual race. It's an intellectual go zone where anybody can say anything and you can discuss it and you can get into the details of it. And again, that doesn't mean that you can't vehemently disagree and even yell and shout somebody down. You could do that, but you just can't ban them. And an unfortunate number of people want to ban them, and we're going to change that. Because libertarian leftism is the real leftism. Authoritarian leftism, you got a lot more in common with the far right than you like to believe.